So, ladies and gents, if you're watching this video, you've probably already seen the first video about the vocabulary um, reteach. On the left over here, you saw that we had slope, y-intercept, proportional, non-proportional, function, and system of equations. This video assumes that you know all of these words right over here. It assumes that you know them. Keep that in mind. If you hear me use any of those words in today's video, and you don't know what I'm talking about, go watch the first video, please. So, right here, it says which function best represents the relationship between y and x. On the y, we have total wages, and on the x, we have hours worked. Right here, all we have to do is identify is the answer A, B, C, or D, and how. How do we get that? So, well, proportional means it goes through the origin. So if we go through the origin right here, that means that there's nothing at the end of it, right? That there's no plus something, there's no minus anything, it's all just proportional. Well, they're all proportional, so that trick didn't help us. But we know that our rate goes up 12 and over 1. Again, our rate goes up 12 and over 1. So our change in y is 12. Our change in y is 12, and our change in x is 1. Well, the only one that shows that is B. So the answer has to be B, just based off that. But other logic you could have used is that it's not negative. This graph is not going down, it's going up. So just because of that, D had to be out. Like, D just doesn't make any sense at all. So if I can highlight it, I will. But instead, though, I'm going to highlight it in red. Like, it's just not possible. 1 over 12 was probably your next best answer. But again, slope is the change in y over the change in x. So it's not 1 over 12, it's 12 over 1. And then C, the problem with C is that this indicates that there's 1x. That means it's going up 1 and over 1. So C could not be it either. Okay? Keep that in mind. Now, each of these three problems, I failed to say this in the beginning, but each of these three problems represent the most commonly missed problems on the test. This problem here that we just did, I bet you that most of you got it wrong because you locked on this word function. You focus on the word function, which we learned in our vocabularies for every x there's one y. But this one didn't ask you if this was a function. It told you it's a function. That's what the trick to that was. You should be comfortable with whether it's asking you a function or whether it tells you it's a function. The difference between those. You need to be comfortable with that. Now, as a team, we're going to be talking about this problem here where it says which situation describes a proportional relationship. Once again, that word proportional, if you're watching this, please highlight it, circle it, underline it. That word means it goes to the origin. And once again, there's nothing after the x. Like looking back at number 1, there was no plus or minus at the end. Okay? There was no plus or minus at the end. And so, in the spirit of that, where it says which situation describes a proportional relationship, well, the answer is simple. Look for the one that has nothing at the end. That's the one that's non-proportional. I mean, that has something at the end. That's the one that's non-proportional. So this one right here has something at the end. Like literally. You see how it has, and I'll move it down just so it's easier to see. Y equals negative 2rx plus. As soon as you saw that plus or minus, this is the non-proportional one. As soon as you saw that, that was the one that's non-proportional. And so that's why this one is not correct. It wants to know which one describes a proportional relationship. This one doesn't have anything at the end. This one doesn't have anything at the end. This one doesn't have anything at the end. These three are the proportional problems. So any of these or all of these would be the correct answer. But as a team, we're probably going to get rid of this one because it was tricky, but not impossible. It was tricky, but not impossible. A lot of you got hooked on the words radius and circumference and the perimeter, but it wasn't about any of that. Like we never talked to you about those things. We only talked to you about whether there's something after the X or not. Now, our last one. Goku bought boxed food at a cost of $21.50 per set. Goku also paid a one-time shipping fee of $22. Which table shows the relationship between the total cost of the food and the number of boxes of food that Goku bought? And it says all you have to do is circle the correct answer. So is it this first table, the second table, the third table, or the fourth table? Well, the glorious thing about this is that you could just see which one is true. Like which one of these actually fits the situation, that it was $21.50 per set. So if I took this $21.50 and I multiplied by 10, okay, if I took this $21.50 and I multiplied by 10, I should get, let me highlight it real quick. There you go. If I took this $21.50 per set and I multiply it by number 10, because they all have 10, I should get 215, right? And so a lot of you probably did that and said, hey, it's this first one. The answer has to be the first one. This one has 215 because 2150 times 10, 215. And while it is true, it's 2150 per set per X, and you get 215, you're forgetting about the one-time shipping fee. This is the plus or minus at the end that makes it non-proportional. So it cannot be A. This one is not possible. And a lot of you fell for that trick. We do not want A. That one's out. I'm going to color it red because it's out. The next one. Well, if we know it should be 215, what's 215 plus 22? It's not 220. That one's out. Just like that. That one's out. Okay, we know 10 times 2150 once again was 215, but 215 plus that 22 is not 435. So this one's out. The only one possible was the last one, which makes sense. If you do 215 plus 22, you'll get 237. It is the only one that has a true set that actually represents the situation. Okay, so again, the first video gave you all of these on the side, the vocabulary words. This video gave you the answer to all of these. So now on the back, when you guys get your paper in class, or if you're watching this, you probably already have the paper, you're going to see this. Notice that it is very similar. I need you to try to use what you just learned from this video on those problems, okay? If you have any questions, go to class, ask Mr. Heiston, ask Ms. Hill, ask Mr. Lotta, ask Ms. Gray. We got you. We don't take care of you. But again, these are the three most missed problems. And when you think about it, like these are really all definition. You got afraid of the word function. You were afraid of the word non-proportional or proportional. And then here, this one is probably actually the one that's about math. Anyway, y'all have a blessed day.